All right, hey everyone, especially you senior students at Scarpa Mate. Finals coming up, right? We know you guys are deep in your surveyor studies, so we figured what better time for a deep dive into architecture.
Absolutely.
And not just any architect, we're talking Frank Lloyd Wright. We've got this great document on him, nice and concise, and we're gonna really dig into it today.
Sounds good.
So think of this as a little brain break, but also a chance to see how what you're learning connects to the wider world of design. Ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Okay, so first things first, who is this Frank Lloyd Wright guy and why should you care? Well, he was kind of a big deal in the architecture world, a real pioneer. But what made him stand out?
Right. He wasn't just designing any old buildings.
Exactly. He had this whole philosophy called organic architecture, which sounds kind of granola, but it was actually revolutionary.
You know, it really was. Back then, everything was all about straight lines, boxes, very formal, very rigid.
Right, like cookie cutter buildings.
Exactly. But Wright comes along and says, hey, what if our buildings actually worked with nature, not against it?
Oh, so like tree houses?
Well, not exactly tree houses, but think about it. What if your building could kind of flow with the landscape? Like it grew right out of the ground.
I see. So instead of chopping down all the trees to make space for a building, you design the building around the trees.
Exactly. Or even use those trees as part of the design itself. And it wasn't just about trees. It was about rocks, hills, the whole natural environment.
Okay, starting to get it. So like respecting the land and stuff.
Huge emphasis on that, yeah. And using natural materials too, things that would age gracefully, blend in, feel like they belong there. And the document even talks about how he wanted the inside and outside of the building to flow together.
Interesting, like big windows and open spaces.
Exactly. Lots of light, a real connection to the outdoors. And all of this was based on carefully studying the land, really understanding the site before you even put pencil to paper.
Wow, that's pretty different from just plopping down a building wherever you feel like it. So is this organic architecture thing still relevant today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Sustainability, connecting with nature, creating spaces that are both beautiful and functional. These are huge themes today, more than ever.
Right, it's like everyone's talking about going green and eco-friendly design.
Exactly. And Wright was way ahead of his time on that front.
So how does this relate to you guys studying to be surveyors? You're not exactly designing buildings, but you're dealing with the land and how structures fit into it.
Right. You're the ones who really understand the lay of the land, the contours, the existing features. And that's crucial for any kind of construction, especially if you want to build in harmony with the site like Wright did.
Makes sense. So, okay, let's talk about a few of Wright's most famous buildings. The document mentions Fallingwater. What's so special about that one?
Oh, Fallingwater is like the poster child for organic architecture. It's this incredible house built right over a waterfall, literally part of the landscape. It just blends in seamlessly.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
It really is. And then there are his Usonian houses, which were designed for ordinary families, middle-class folks.
So not just for rich people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wright believed that good design should be accessible to everyone. And these Usonian houses were simple, affordable, one-story, flat roofs, open floor plans, big windows to let in the light. They were all about efficient living, connecting with the outdoors. It was like a whole new way of life. He called it a truly American way of living.
Interesting. So even though it was designed for America, those ideas, simplicity, connecting with nature, efficient use of space, that feels pretty universal, right?
Absolutely. Even here in Italy, you can see how those ideas resonate. Think about the traditional houses in the countryside, the way they use local materials, respond to the climate, blend in with the surroundings. There are definitely parallels there.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if there are any buildings in your own towns that have that same kind of spirit, that connection to the landscape.
Exactly. Maybe not as famous as Fallingwater, but just as thoughtful in their own way. And that's something you guys can look for, even as you walk around your own neighborhoods.
Okay, so one more famous Wright building we got to talk about. The Guggenheim Museum in New York City. What's the story with that one?
Ah, the Guggenheim. That one's a real head-turner. It's this giant spiral, like a seashell. Totally unique.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. It's definitely not your average museum.
And the design was super innovative, too. The original idea was that you take an elevator to the top and then slowly walk down the spiral ramp, experiencing the art in this continuous flow. It was like a journey, not just a static exhibit.
Wow, that's cool.
But in practice, it didn't quite work out that way. People wanted to walk up, not just down, so they changed it. Still, it shows you how Wright was always pushing boundaries, experimenting with new forms and ideas.
Sometimes those grand visions don't always translate perfectly into reality, right?
Right. But it's still an iconic building, and it really cemented Wright's reputation as a visionary architect, someone who wasn't afraid to think outside the box.
So let's get critical here. What are some of the pros and cons of Wright's whole organic architecture thing?
Well, on the plus side, you've got that amazing harmony with nature, using sustainable, often locally sourced materials. And the buildings themselves are just beautiful, full of light, open spaces that make you feel good.
Okay, that all sounds pretty good. What about the downsides?
Well, using natural materials can be expensive and maybe a bit more challenging to maintain. And these very individualized designs, while beautiful, might not always be the most practical or cost-effective, especially in a dense urban setting.
Makes sense. It's always a balance, right? Between aesthetics and practicality, between vision and budget.
Absolutely. But I think the important takeaway here is that Wright's work, even with its challenges, forces us to think differently about how we design and build.
All right, so wrapping things up, what are the key things to remember about Frank Lloyd Wright?
He was a pioneer of organic architecture, which emphasized harmony with nature, sustainable materials, and creating spaces that connect us to the outdoors. He designed innovative homes for ordinary people, like the Usonian houses, proving that good design doesn't have to be exclusive. And he created iconic buildings like Fallingwater and the Guggenheim that continue to inspire us today.
Awesome, thanks for breaking all that down. And hey students, here's a thought to chew on. As you learn about surveying and start thinking about your future careers, remember what Wright taught us. How can you apply those principles of respecting the land, using local materials, and creating buildings that truly belong to their place?
That's a great question to consider.
Maybe you'll find inspiration in the most unexpected places right here in your own corner of northern Italy. All right, that's it for our deep dive today.
Until next time.
Catch you later.